While extracurricular activities can be enriching, it is important to balance them with academic responsibilities. Students should prioritize their coursework and ensure that they have enough time to study and complete assignments. Effective time management skills are crucial for balancing academics and extracurricular successfully.
Fine chemical and pharmaceutical manufacturing are major sources of air pollution, with recent studies showing the carbon footprint of the pharmaceutical industry to be heavier than the automotive industry. Beyond greenhouse gas emissions, the pharmaceutical industry is also responsible for other serious environmental impacts, such as water pollution from wastewater released by manufacturers. Stations shutting down for unscheduled maintenance reduces hydrogen fueling availability to consumers and may slow the adoption of these types of fuel cell electric vehicles, the researchers noted. The use of what is known as a prognostic health monitoring model would allow hydrogen stations to reduce these unscheduled events. The growing global population needs sufficient food. Its production causes overfertilization and increased nitrogen concentration in agriculture, which negatively affects the population, climate, and ecosystems. According to new models, however, today's crop production might be maintained with a far smaller global fertilizer consumption, if nitrogen fertilizer would be used more homogeneously across global croplands.
This heat shock response of cells is a classic model of biological adaptation, part of the fundamental processes of life, conserved in creatures from single-celled yeast to humans, that allow our cells to adjust to changing conditions in their environment. For years, scientists have focused on how different genes respond to heat stress to understand this survival technique.
The legendary Alexander Fleming, who famously discovered penicillin, once said never to neglect an extraordinary appearance or happening, and the path of science often leads to just that. New research is turning the page in our understanding of harmful bacteria and how they turn on certain genes, causing disease in our bodies.
Eastern North Pacific gray whales are one of the few populations of large whales that have recovered to what may be similar numbers that existed prior to commercial whaling. As the population has approached levels close to what their Arctic feeding areas can support, they have likely become more sensitive to environmental conditions due to competition for limited resources. The tropics were identified as having a heightened vulnerability to the interaction of climate change and land use, meaning crops such as coffee, cocoa, mango, and watermelon, which all rely on insect pollination, are at the greatest risk. These crops play vital roles in both local economies and global trade, and their reduction could cause increased income insecurity for millions of small-scale farmers in these regions.
With each passing year, trees add a ring around their trunks. The ring width is determined by the climate they experience. Favorable conditions mean wider rings and unfavorable conditions mean thinner. As climate varies from year to year, it creates time-specific patterns like a barcode in the growth of trees within a region.
Large Marimo are now thought to be exclusively found in Lake Auken, and as seen from the data, even there they have become threatened. Therefore, it is necessary to propose measures to protect Marimo from global warming, such as utilizing the cooler river water that flows into the Marimo colony. Likewise, several of the proteins in the study were chosen for their similarities to the key attributes of the fantasy impromptu style. Most of the 18 proteins tested regulate functions including human emotion, cognition, sensation, or performance which the authors say connect to the emotional and expressive of the genre. Those who switched from precarious to secure employment had a 20% lower risk of death, regardless of what happened afterward, compared to those who remained in precarious employment. If they remained in secure employment for 12 years, the risk of death decreased by 30%.
Time is one of humanity's greatest blind spots. We experience it as days, months, or years. But nature functions on much grander scales, measured in centuries, millennia, and even longer intervals often lumped together as deep time. As paleontologists, we were trained to think in deep time. Yet, as conservationists, we've come to realize that time can be confounding.
Cats have nailed this one thing so well that they all do it and just come up with slightly different sizes. That's why they are perfect evolutionarily. They don't need variation. They might get bigger or smaller, but they don't change anything else because they are doing it just right otherwise. They are not jacks of all trades, they are masters of one. Valley fever's mortality rate is about 1 death per 1,000 infections, according to infectious disease physician John Galgiani, director of the University of Arizona's Valley Fever Center for Excellence. It doesn't need to be so high. There are medications to treat it, but patients often receive incorrect diagnoses.